As we creep closer and closer to the Christmas season, you will inevitably hear more and more about the commercialization of Christmas and how much it gets worse every single year. When the truth is that, at least in North America, Christmas has been a heavily commercialized holiday since like the 1930s, when Coca-Cola drew Santa hauling back some of its famous sugar water, and the holiday effectively got its first brand sponsor, like a YouTuber hooking up with Raid Shadow Legends. Imagine a world where Lucky Strike became the first in the US to make Christmas ads with Santa. Lucky Strike. Santa smokes 'em. You'd be naughty not to. Ah well, a boy can dream. But corporations likely feel that Christmas isn't commercial enough. And if anything, every other holiday needs to start stepping it up. Thanksgiving was great for the Butterball Corporation, but how can, say, Sony, for example, profit off family members getting together to have dinner and scream their political beliefs at each other? Well, they and every other company managed to solve that problem with Black Friday. Valentine's Day was great for Hallmark and the flower and jewelry companies, but then car companies were like, yeah, but nothing really says I love you like a 7-year lease at 0.8% financing. Which brings us to Halloween. Halloween has been mostly dominated by the candy industry, ever since they managed to convince parents that every one of their neighbors was trying to murder their children with poison cookies and razor blade infested candy apples, so they get to sell their tiny little prepackaged chocolate bars in like 4 chips in a bag. But at some point someone said, we're really missing something here. All these kids are walking around the neighborhood going door to door. All these adults go to Halloween parties with like hundreds of people. They're all getting dressed up. There's gotta be a way to monetize this, right? And indeed there was. And all they had to do was just make the option available. You see, once people started following brands on social media and saying dumb shit to their friends like, hey, did you see Wendy's clap back at McDonald's on Twitter today? It was inevitable that people would be willing to dress up as their favorite brands too. Spirit Halloween, the store that somehow manages to exist while only doing business for about a month and a half out of the year, has a pop culture section. Now, you may think that pop culture is like, superheroes, movie and TV characters, video games. Like maybe that's where you'd find one of these horrible Among Us inflatable costumes so you can look sus while knocking over everything in your friend's apartment because you can't see where the fuck you're going. No, that would be in the movies, TV, and video game sections. No, pop culture, that's for the real pop culture references. Like Dunkin' Donuts. Man, I can't remember how many times as a child I begged my mom to let me dress up as a box of fucking donut holes for my favorite brand. And for the adults, dress up like a cold brew coffee. It's easy to put on, instantly recognizable, and sure to get lots of laughs, says the description. The laughs are coming from your friends who are going, you paid money for that? Fucking idiot. Or what about this one? A flaming hot Cheeto that looks more like a turd that came out of someone who should be seeing a doctor immediately for potential stomach cancer. Or really splurge and get yourself a $60 White Castle slider costume. Look, it's the White Castle sliders, like from that movie that came out 17 fucking years ago. What, were they out of similarly timely Paul Giamatti from Sideways costumes? And back to the kids. This one was so popular, it sold out. It's the child's Colonel Sanders costume. Your little one will look finger-licking good, says the description that I think was written by Subway Jared. And for the adults who want to fuck their favorite brands, how about dressing like a sexy M&M? If anything, they should be paying you to wear this. You're the one who's going to be drunkenly stumbling around downtown for several hours in front of other drunk people who all make the same suddenly I got a real craving for some M&Ms jokes, while brand awareness seeps into their vodka-soaked minds. But no, instead, people are actually willing to shell out real, actual dollars to spend an evening promoting their favorite brands as a walking billboard. Halloween used to be about children learning that there's one day a year that you can trust strangers to give you candy without having to get into an unmarked van. And then going home and consuming it all, developing a love of binge-eating sugar, taking that one step closer to type 2 diabetes. What happened to the purity of that?